off air.
There you go. There we go. Greetings. Welcome to Drinkshares, Last Call. I'm your host for this evening, Rebecca, a.k.a. Becky Lieber. Tonight with me are my illustrious drinkables, and we are going to talk about drafting tonight. So, before we get started, we're going to go around and give our introductions as usual, and I will have my hosts introduce themselves with the secret question tonight. And it is writing related, being as we are actually having a writing-based show again. So, my secret question to you guys is, if you could choose one other medium for your book and story idea to be in, would you choose a graphic novel, a movie, or a television show, and why?
This is a great question.
I thought so.
Does that mean you're going first, Christine?
Yeah, I think it means that. So I'm Christine Brennicke, author of 7 Shards, The Colors of Wine. And for my secret question, I kind of want to say all of the above, but to be more serious, I think I'd want to see it as an anime. I'm a big anime fan, and you can do anything in anime, so that's kind of like the best way to go sometimes.
I guess
maybe I would draw the characters even. That would be fun.
And it's kind of like a combination of not really graphic novel, but it's animated.
It's animated. There's
plus television
voice actors, which like really can make or break.
You know what? I feel like I should throw video game in there too. So video game, television, movie.
Oh, you know what I really, really want to do if we're gonna open it up more? I'd want to make a role-playing game out of it because
that would be fun too.
Inspired by me kind of inventing my own version of a role-playing game, so that would make it come full circle.
Okay. All right. Joe?
I was thinking TV show or graphic novel, and because my story fits like a little segment, but there's a lot of stuff going on the outside of it. So I think like supplemental work outside of the book would work well in either.
And what book would that be, Joe?
That'd be Lost Generation. The thing that's down here in my lower third, with my giant finger. Because there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff that I think the events of the book is like predicated by all kinds of kind of crazy stuff, and that'll all be interesting to explore. It's stuff that I would like to explore one day, but right now I'm just focusing on finishing the book itself.
I think your book would be really cool as a graphic novel.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. I'd like to see that. I lack the artistic skill for that, but I am practicing drawing when I'm not writing. So my hope is in 10 years I'll be able to write and draw my own graphic novel. It's kind of my 10-year goal.
Yeah, you could do it in 10 years.
Just one more hobby I'm sure that Brenda is super excited you picked up to be able to do instead of writing.
She's very supportive of me as long as you know I listen and am respectful to her needs and make sure that I do my duties. You know, she likes the things that I do. You just have to be wise and be a good listener and make sure you're being a good husband and a good dad first. That's priority number 1.
I bring that up, Drinkshares audience, because last week we were teasing Joe about how we were going to kick him off the show until he finishes his book and put Brenda on as a temporary replacement.
Yes, she wants the book done so that we can return to somewhat of a normal life.
Understandable. All right, Kara, last but certainly not least.
Well, I definitely would immediately go to a Netflix series. Because Netflix will let you do stuff that, you know, it's highly controlled TV networks won't let you do. And I want my book to be, to maintain its integrity as much as possible. I mean, my book is split into 12 episodes, and I do think of it like a TV show. Even though that they're probably longer than what could be contained in a single TV episode. Maybe. I don't know. It depends on how you shot it. But yeah, TV, absolutely.
Okay.
But it would be cool to have all kinds of content, you know? Everybody dreams of that, right?
No kidding.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you don't just have a book. You got the book, the movie, series, maybe. TV series, graphic novel, all of it. Just do all of it.
Yeah, I was just curious because I knew each of you guys have a sci-fi or fantasy related story, but I was curious as to which one of them the media would lend itself best to. Because if you have a very visual novel, you can put that in graphic novel form because you're going to have lots of images to work with. But if you have an action-paced thing, you're going to want something that you can have explosions, like a video game or a movie or a television show. So
yeah, you know, Alex has told me that I write dialogue like a TV writer.
mm-hmm.
So I think that would work well for that. And also what I really have in my book is like the character relationships and the emotional core. And I don't care as much about the visual stuff, just as much. So I would want someone to make the TV show who really had a good vision for like the costumes and the spaceship designs and that kind of stuff.
And I think
I don't have to make it up because I don't want to.
If you have a show that has character development at its core, you need a television show. You can't do it in a movie unless you want to make like 12 movies.
You have to cut out too much. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because Firefly would not have worked as a trilogy movie.
Yeah, it would
as
not.
a television
Right.
show.
You are so right.
Christopher in the chat said that his Murder at the Veterans Club is his book, and Funny on Inkshares if you'd like to buy a copy.
Hey, where's the chat? I don't have it.
It's I can send you a link in Slack.
Okay.
You can pull it up. He said that his would be a BBC miniseries, which
Of course I can see that.
Of course it would. Make it happen.
Did we make our way around? And okay, so
Becky, you'd have to answer the question.
yeah. So I am Rebecca Lieber, their proxy at Rebecca Lieber on Twitter. My lower third has not worked for approximately a month now, and I'm really pissed off about it. So this is my solution to that problem. I also have this. This is my other solution, but I don't think that's going to stay as well. Plus, it blocks my beautiful eyes. So.
You need a hat.
Oh my god, I need like a Donald Trump hat.
Oh my god.
Like a crappy trucker hat with like gold letters on it. That would be sensational.
Make
Oh my
Proxy
gosh.
great again.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, that's so great. I can think of so many like clever lines from my book too that I could turn into like propaganda. Okay, so anyway, since my book has to do almost with like superhero type abilities anyway, I think the best thing that it could be would either be a graphic novel or a video game. Now, talking about the role-playing stuff, if I wanted to throw Intrepid, which is my other draft that is on the back burner until Proxy is finished, that would be a great role-playing game because that was inspired by a D&D game that I ran. And it was kind of a combination of D&D and Pathfinder, and we added some steampunk elements to it. So it's like magic and motorcycles and mermaids.
Becky, we're going to need to have a more serious conversation at some point.
There are mermaids in your book?
Yeah, not in Proxy, but in Intrepid there are. Like I said, I kind of run it with the tagline of magic, motorcycles, and mermaids.
I love it so much.
I know. I want to finish Proxy so bad so I can get to that one because that's the one I'm really excited about now. So anyway, I think a video game would be really cool because with all the powers that they have and abilities in Proxy, I think it would be really cool to turn those into like things that you could do in the video game, like a virtual reality thing where you could do telekinesis or, you know, whatever. So that would be what I would do. So either that or a graphic novel. So, okay. One more time around. What are we drinking and what are we reading currently?
All right. I'm finishing up this here Peach Bellini, which I think I drank on a previous show.
Is that one of the Smirnoff ones?
Yeah. And then
That looks really good. I love peach.
It's pretty good. And then once I'm done that, I'm moving on to Red Stripe, which I am letting get warm right now because I like to drink it warm, not cold.
Is that a thing with that? Because I have a buddy that drinks Red Stripe, but he's never said
that's how I prefer most of the beers I like. I don't like many beers, but the ones I like them warm.
It's a very classical way of drinking your beer.
Yeah, it's very European. I didn't know that when I decided that's how I liked it. But
yeah, you're like anti-ice over in Europe.
Yeah, I'm actually really anti-ice in general, so yeah, that works.
See, I eat ice, so I would. All right, Joe. Oh, I'm sorry. No, Christine, what are you reading?
Yes,
I jumped the gun there.
I am back to reading So You Might Be a Vampire, which I had started before Camp NaNoWriMo months, and I got about as far as I had already read on Inkshares. So now I'm reading it, picking up where I left off, and getting into the new material, and I'm really liking it.
All right, cool. Joseph.
Hey. So I went to Memphis this weekend, so I had a lot of audiobook time because we drove there. And I listened to all of Spellsword by our very own G. Derek Adams, and it was great.
Is that the beginning of the Asteroid Man of Dragons?
Yes, it was the first book.
The first book.
He's got an audiobook of it. And if you got some Audible credits, or if you want to listen to an audiobook, that's kind of a fun adventure. It's a great I'm in the car driving around movie or audiobook because
movie in your head.
And it's really good and it's really funny and it's fun.
Are audiobooks as satisfying as regular books? Because I listen to podcasts and I enjoy those, but I've never actually sat down to listen to an audiobook, even though I drive so much a day. And so I'm curious as to your opinion on those.
I think it's a good. It's good for commuters, I think, especially for me and people that are time limited, where it's really hard for me to sit down and read a book because I'll probably just fall asleep.
Yeah.
So I probably consume the majority of my books in audio format.
It's a different experience.
Yeah.
And there's something added on because you hear inflection that you don't hear when you're reading it.
Yeah.
So it's a different experience, but I think, I don't know, we should add that to the list of formats we want our book to be in.
Oh, yeah. Totally.
Because I would love to have an audiobook. My book, too.
Yeah. I want somebody cool to read mine, like James Marsters. I am only saying that because I was talking about Harry Dresden a little while ago with my brother-in-law, and he reads all the Harry Dresden books. And for those of you who don't know who James Marston is, he's the guy that played Spike on Buffy the Vampire Slayer, as well as several other...
He was on Torchwood a little bit.
Yeah, he was on Torchwood. He was on Warehouse 13 for a little bit. I'm sure he was on other things. I just can't remember what.
Spike is probably the most famous one.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And then I listened to a book that, mostly through it, that I think Becky is a big fan of, The Serpent of Venice.
Are you loving it?
Yeah, it's real good.
Have you read Fool first?
No.
Oh, okay.
Because it was on my recommended list. I always have Audible credits, so I had to.
Okay, when you get a chance, read Fool, and Serpent of Venice will make so much more sense.
It makes a lot of sense. I think it makes a lot of sense as it is. I was going to say that when you start writing, people always tell you show, don't tell. And for a long time, I thought that was really confusing. I couldn't tell, okay, when am I showing, when am I telling? I didn't have good examples of that. Serpent of Venice is like a masterclass of show, don't tell. There is no wasted exposition in that book. For a while, I thought that it was because I just got an audio form. I'd never seen the book, and I thought it was is this a play? This is all dialogue, right? And then I started picking up on parts that were actually description, and it's it's real good. It's real natural, and it's an excellent book. I recommend that one.
It's funny as hell. Both Fool and Serpent are just naturally funny too. Not only is it natural exposition, but it's just the way people talk, and it's super funny and it's super dirty. I love it.
Good book. If you, I think I consider dialogue to be one of the weakest parts of my writing. So it's a great book if you want to learn or study some natural dialogue, I think.
Yeah, Christopher Moore has been a huge influence on me. In fact, since I finished Sakura Blue, I fundamentally changed one of the settings of a major plot point in my book because I was so fascinated with the time period he wrote about in late 1800s Paris and the movement of the Bohemians and the Moulin Rouge and all that. I'd always liked the Moulin Rouge in the movie anyway in that time period, so I kind of absorbed that, so I totally stole it. But other than that, yeah, I adore Christopher Moore and everything he does.
It was good. And I'm drinking tea because I have a major software release tomorrow. I need to be at top of my game tomorrow. So no screwing around. Sorry, guys. We won't have 3 Beer Joe today.
That's okay, because this is a serious, thought-provoking discussion. So
one final thing. Liam from Rockets, which is Draft on Inkshares right now.
Hey, Liam. Yes, it is. Follow Draft or follow Rock.
He turned me on to the musical Hamilton today, which is
play.
real good. Is it a
Are we
play?
going to
Oh, it's a
spend this
musical,
entire
right?
time
It's a
talking
musical,
about
yeah.
Hamilton?
Hamilton is real good. We should have a show. I think if we did a spoiler cast of Hamlet, it would have a lot less tears in it than this
Hamlet?
The Force Awakens one did.
He did. I let it slide.
But it's real. It's really good.
There is a legitimate argument going around right now that the only reason they did not take Hamilton off the $10 bill was because the play was so popular.
It was really good. It's real good. So you should check that out, because I didn't know what it was. Like, I just been hearing about people saying that it's good, and I was like, what? I don't even know. Is this a Netflix thing? Like, what is this? And it was on Spotify. It's on Spotify and all the other streaming things. So check it out. It is good. You don't even have to care about presidents or history or anything. Liam is in Canada, and he still loves it. So
Well, I think we should add musical to another form of art that you
That's
want
so
to
true.
translate.
Oh, wow.
Because I would
See,
absolutely love
yeah, and
musical version
Derek
of What I
could
Said.
have input on that because he does all sorts of musical stuff.
That's fantastic. All right, Kara, drinking and reading.
I am drinking chamomile tea. And I have a quick confession to make. Hi. For those of you who don't know, I've been lying to you for the entire span of Drinkshares. Besides episode 0, in which I got very I've not been drinking at all because I've been pregnant this whole time. Yay! No drinking for me. I'm the designated driver of this podcast.
Of WizCon. Becky at WizCon. Which is in 2 weeks, Kara. How excited are you?
I'm so excited for WizCon. It's gonna be so great. We should do some little thing.
Yeah, I'm excited about our fancy dessert dinner that we're gonna go to. I got a dress for it.
You did?
You guys
Yeah.
gotta live tweet the whole event.
Yeah, we should.
I will try.
once you have your kid, you'll have 3, right?
Yeah.
So then you'll definitely be drinking on the show.
Probably.
She won't have a choice.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens.
So since you've been lounging about confined to bed a lot, what have you had time to read?
I have read both of the first 2 books in the Asteroid Made of Dragons series. Is that
Ooh.
Spellsword? Spellsword?
Well, I think it's the Spell Sword series.
Okay, so Spellsword and then the Riddle Box. And oh my gosh, okay, Spellsword is great because it's just basically like a traditional, here's the world, here are the elements. It's a quest, epic quest. You get to meet the characters. And then the Riddle Box is a murder mystery. Except, I was thinking the whole time, okay, Derek, I'll go with you on this one because I love murder mysteries. I love it. But if it's just a murder mystery, I'll be a little bit disappointed. But it wasn't, because he did all of this really cool, intense world building and just really great character work and just deepened everything. And he has just such a clear perspective that is really cool and different and interesting. And I could not recommend it more. It was so good. And it was scary. It was scary, but not in a scary way that I wanted to stop reading.
It was just thrillery, kind of.
Well, genuinely creepy, and really getting at something that is a really scary concept, conveyed really well. It was good. It was good. I kind of want to read Asteroid Made of Dragons now, reread it in light of having read the first 2 books. Yeah.
Well,
it's a good series.
I have something to confess about Asteroid Made of Dragons when we make our announcement here after we finish our drinking and reading, because I was talking to Derek the other day about something special. So, that being said, I'm going to segue into me now, and I am drinking tea as well, like the rest of my companions, but I was going to be good.
Tea?
Yeah, it is tea with some other stuff.
Oh, wait, yeah, that's right.
It's got other stuff. Shh.
Okay.
Shh, shh, shh. Anyway, I was going to be good and drink tea like my compatriots, and then I remembered I had peach-flavored whiskey. And so I threw about half a shot of peach-flavored whiskey into my sweet hot tea and discovered a delicious liquid miracle. So
that sounds really good.
It is pretty damn good, and I'm not even a whiskey person, and I really like this. I think it's the sugar that does it for me, because the tea has just enough flavor that it overcounts the alcohol taste, because I'm not a big flavor of whiskey drinker.
Mm-hmm.
But mixed properly with certain drinks I like. And it's always with peach. Peach and whiskey tend to go well together. So that's what I'm drinking. And I am currently about 1 or 2 chapters into A Gathering of Shadows, which is a sequel by V.E. Schwab from the first book, which is called A Darker Shade of Magic. I found them both at my library about 2 weeks ago. They came out in 14 and 15, or 15 and 16 collectively.
Sounds kind of familiar.
Yeah, they're really new, but they're a really cool idea because it's about magic, but also with like multiple dimensions. So there are 4 Londons. There's a red London, a black London, a gray London, and a white London. And there's this special like race of humans that are magic based, and they are the only ones that can cross the boundaries. And the reason the boundaries were all shut off is because Black London is called Black London because like magic corrupted everybody, and they shut all the doors between the parallel universes, and only Kel and this other guy named Holland, who are Antari, can move between them. And then so like the story kind of erupts there of he is a messenger for the royal family, and he accidentally ends up with an object from Black London that he should not have, like nobody should have, and he's got to take it back, and then like chaos ensues. So I finished that, and then the second one starts with like 4 months right after the end of the first one. And my new favorite character is a girl named Lila Bard, who is like a thief and a pickpocket, and she wants to be a pirate. She's always talking about stealing her own ship. She's just an awesome female character, and I'm super in love with her right now. So that's what I'm reading.
I love the book cover, or the cover of that book is really awesome. Too.
I'm jealous. They're just very minimalist and beautiful, and I love
say what it is again so I can Google
the first one is A Darker Shade of Magic. And like I said, it's like, I think it's V.E. Schwab. I can't remember how Schwab is spelled because my book's in my bedroom.
Oh, yes, I have seen these book covers.
Do you see the one for Gathering of Shadows with Lila on it? She's got like her pirate coat and her hat. She looks pretty bitchin'.
Gathering of Shadows. Well, I have A Darker Shade of Magic. They're apparently pretty popular.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay. Uh-huh.
But they're very minimalist, and I like them a lot. Maybe I'll put links.
A couple different styles.
Yes.
Are you talking about the ones that have, like, one is a silhouette with a red background?
The one that I have, the copies I have, like the Darker Shade of Magic have 2 circles, and Kel is jumping from one to another. It's like maps of London.
Yeah.
And then Gathering of Shadows is hands reaching up with like the map outlines in the hands, and then Lila holding 2 daggers.
Yeah, yeah.
Very cool art style.
Yeah, they're very cool.
Kind of 60s.
Yeah.
Like whatever whoever the guy is who did all of a bunch of Alfred Hitchcock openings. Looks like an Alfred Hitchcock opening.
It does. Okay, now that Kara's made her really big announcement, are we ready to make our really exciting big announcement, which I'm sure all of our fans, all 5 of them, already know about?
We have 7 streamers right now.
We have 7 people? 7? That's a record. So, like I said, we're going to talk about drafting tonight. So our discussion prior to what is drafting on Inkshares and how can one do it and why is it a good thing to do before actually selling a book is we are announcing that from May 30th to June 4th, not only Drinkshares Last Call, but also in collaboration with Inkshares, we are going to host an event called Draftfest, which is highlighting the work of people who are in the draft phase, hopefully highlighting some new talents and people who haven't started selling books yet, getting some new people into the community, into the fold, highlighting new talent, but also, you know, drawing attention to our buddies who might already be selling books that have other books in the draft phase, or that might have tried to sell before and they're back in the draft phase and really deserve a second chance. Yeah, rockets. But just trying to bring attention to this weird, mysterious kind of purgatory that is not the idea phase and not the selling phase, because not a lot of people have taken advantage of the drafting phase. Most people that have really hit it big on Inkshares have either joined through a contest or already had a manuscript, jumped right in, started selling pre-orders. I know JF pretty much did that right off the bat. You know, Joe didn't even have a book and he won a contest. So,
you jerk.
I was going to say, not that we're bitter or anything.
I think it's fair to argue that I still don't have a book.
No, you have so much of a book.
But what you do have,
I have a lot of words.
Are 10,000 drafts.
Yeah, I have many drafts.
So
I'm like the king of Draftfest. I have so many drafts. I have a suit made of drafts.
So the reason I hinted at G. Derrick is because he is one of many other authors, including Paul Inman, Amanda Ornick. I'm going to forget some people, so help me out by looking at the draft. Several authors who have already sold books on Inkshares have offered up copies of their books for a raffle that we will be doing for people who participate in Draftfest, which we will be doing raffles for. So we have some really cool books, we have some really cool merch that we're going to be giving out from various authors and the like. So this is an event just for writers. This is also an event for readers. So if any of you out there in Viewerland are on Inkshares who don't have their stories up yet and are just there to support authors, please, this is your opportunity to come in. We have stuff for you too. But we have some cool stuff lined up for authors as well.
Yeah, I mean, I hope with this that we'll be able to highlight people that are not quite ready to take the plunge, or re-invite people that have crashed and burned, and also
Don't
just bring
say it like that.
Liam appreciates our humor. We
Okay,
have to
I
share.
guess
Plus, he wrote a
Bar
rocket.
bombers.
It's a really appropriate. It's a really appropriate analogy.
It was a rocket that crashed.
Oh.
And I hope that it, Inkshares has said that this is the year of the reader, and I hope that through this we'll be able to bring more readers into the system, and
Yeah, and drafting is like a great way to do that, because you get your opportunity to interact and leave your comments like right on the draft,
Right.
and that kind of builds that author-reader relationship.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I just remember that I have a draft.
Just remembered.
Yeah, I forgot that I put up the sequel to She Is the End as a draft. So it's there. You can go follow it.
Yeah. I'll put a link.
I'm
in
gonna
the
check
show
that
notes.
out.
I haven't put anything up yet for it though.
I can't.
But it's there.
I have
a
many
placeholder.
ideas and drafts on Inkshares, but I can't touch any of them until my book is done, because it would
Yeah.
be. I think it'd be.
Finish the book.
That's how I am with Intrepid, and it makes me really sad because I'm more excited about that story than I am for Proxy. Not that I don't love Proxy, it's just Proxy has been the better part of 10 years, and I'm kind of to the part where I might be a little bored with it, just saying. You know, it's one of those things where you get it lodged in your head long enough, and you're like, okay, I want something to happen with this. I need something new. And then Intrepid came along, and I was like, this is amazing. It's more of that, what's the word, speculative fiction than Proxy is, because Proxy takes place a lot of times in history, like actual events that have occurred or things that actually exist or scientific explanations for stuff. And Intrepid is more like way out there, more fantasy, and so I really want to get delved into that. But I can't.
Yeah, well, it's really hard because, yes, there comes a point when you don't want to finish what you're working on. You want to start a new thing, and that has been the story of my life.
Yeah, it's difficult. I think.
You're finishing our books, people.
We are.
Slowly but surely.
Hey, I didn't finish my book, but I got like 30,000 words written in April, and I was really happy with that.
That's a lot. That's
insane.
fantastic.
Yeah, I was pretty
That's really
ecstatic
good.
about that, considering it's more than I've written in years.
I think an accurate description of me as a person is like he who starts. I have many, and that's kind of something that's characteristic of people that have ADD or ADHD. Is that we get very excited about things and we start a lot of projects and we don't finish a lot of them. So, Lost Generation has been a good experiment in discipline and focus and finishing what you started, because I have to, because I have a deal with Inkshares and I can't not finish it. So. So it's a good thing for me, and it's a good learning and growing experience for me as well.
So why do you, Joe, as a person who has so many drafts up, are you drafting only as a placeholder for your ideas, or are you genuinely invested in taking a project from the draft phase, like the idea phase, to the draft phase through sales?
Most of the stuff that's up there are just ideas. A couple of them are drafts. One I can't remember the name of, but I promised Brenda I'd write it next, because it's her idea.
The squirrel one?
The squirrels?
Squirrel, yeah, which I'll pull up.
Just call it the squirrels one.
The squirrel book. So there's
The
a squirrel book. You can search Joe Trezeva on Inkshares and you'll see all of them. But I promised Brenda I'd write the squirrel book next, and then there was another book that I came up with that was loosely inspired by the rise of Donald Trump, And then it was I grew up. I'm like a third generation immigrant or something. I'm not like a straight up immigrant or anything like that, but I feel like a lot of people who have come over from my generation have forgotten their immigrant roots, and I don't think that's acceptable. I think the way that I'm half Italian. The way that Italians were treated is reminiscent of the way a lot of immigrants are being treated now, and to forget that history is and not be respectful of immigrants today is not. I don't approve of it.
Well, and it wasn't just American citizens at the time, or people that were also other immigrants. Like previous waves of immigrants would pick on other immigrants, and then immigrants would fight each other. So like Irish,
like
and
the
Italian
freshmen
people.
turning into sophomores, and then
That's
on the new
exactly
freshmen.
what it is. It's like once you become acculturated and you get a generation in, then you get like these people of like, oh, we earned our passage, now you got to earn yours. And so not only was it like immigrant on immigrant fighting, but it was American citizens who were already established, native-borns, fighting against the immigrants coming in. And when it was white people, it was Germans, Italians, and Irish, and then it was the people from Eastern Europe, then it was Asians, then it was Africans, then it was people from all over the world, and so there were these waves of pick your ethnic origin group here, and this is just another unfortunate wave of that now.
Yeah, and that was, I put that draft up way before Donald Trump was the presumptive nominee of the Republican Party, so I think it's necessary now more than ever. But I wanted to write something that could explore those topics, but do it in a more less realistic way. So it's an urban fantasy with kind of monsters and things like that, kind of coming over into a place where they all melt together into like a United States-like nation.
Interesting.
Built in a kind of 1920s-ish society.
So a little gangstery.
Little bit gangstery. So I want to explore that, and that's just it's just a seed. I haven't developed it at all, but it's something I feel kind of passionate about. So I'll write that at some point. Those are the two that I have in draft mode right now, and the rest are just ideas, because I'll come up with an idea, or Brenda will come up with an idea, and I'll just submit it to Drinkshares, because it costs nothing to submit an idea, and some of them people have picked up on quite a bit. I get
well,
a lot of
if
followers and
anything,
comments.
that is the best reason for putting a draft up. A, it's free. B, you have nothing to lose. And C, you're only going to build momentum for your story. Because I think I'm upwards of almost 70 since I joined in January, and I have not actively been pursuing like getting people to read my page. They've just been kind of naturally gravitating towards it as I was involved in this, and as I am, getting more involved in the community and things like that. So if I really pushed on the forums and things like that, I'm sure I could have upwards of 100. But I don't want to be that person, so I'm not. But when
happen
June comes,
naturally.
yeah, when June comes, I'm gonna be obnoxious as hell.
When the frenzy starts.
Yeah, with the frenzy. So that's secret to be told. The reason we're doing this is to lead up to my book launch.
Not the whole reason.
It's my reason.
It's the
reason I was like, yes, let's do this.
Of it.
So, but other than Carrie, you just recently put yours up on a draft, right?
Yeah, I did it on the day my campaign ended. As sort of like a linking thing. Like, I wanted people to, like, my campaign is over, it's successful, the book is getting published, and also, while you're thinking of it, while it's in your mind, follow this too, because then they'll be set to go for whenever I actually start posting excerpts and a cover and synopsis and all of that.
But She Is the End started in a contest, just like Lost Generation did, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And Christine,
the first Nerdist contest.
That was the one you were into, Christine?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like sorry to interject, but
no, you're fine.
I feel like people that go through a contest, whether you win or continue on after that, you should get a special survivor badge.
Especially in the first one, because I heard it's particularly brutal.
From what I understand, all of them have been brutal in different ways.
Yeah. It's kind of like like a little mini generation, the authors. Of
Yeah, it
these
is.
contests.
It kind of is, yeah.
And then because it would be good to say like Sword and Laser winner, Sword and Laser survivor, Nerdist survivor. It would be kind of like
I like it.
a badge of honor.
For
great.
people who stick around, yeah, because it's hard to tell. There's some books
Oh, yeah,
on
a
it
lot
that
of
are
people
drafts now that reverted back to draft that I really wanted to see turn
Some
into.
of them I was shocked because they were doing so well in the contest.
Yeah, and I don't know if the authors have just given up on Inkshares and they just won't. They're not even ever going to try again, or if someday they'll go back to funding and I'll be able to order their book again.
Hopefully.
There are some that I really want to see.
Someone in the audience says, "What makes contests so rough? Who wants to carry that one?"
Have some of that.
Joe, of course you're the one who wants to carry it.
No,
You
I
have the
think
most
I've told my story many times. I'd like to hear the Nerdist perspective because Sword and Laser is old hat now.
It's just really intense. It's really intense
Yeah.
to watch the other book totals go up and watch yourself slide up and down.
Oh my god, yeah, you're constantly checking.
Constantly checking. Can't stop
Inkshares
thinking about
page,
it.
your email.
Always trying to think of new ways you can get just a few more orders. And then, every second of your day turns into focusing on this, and you get behind at work, and your children never see you if you have.
That's why I decided to do a summer campaign.
This is very smart.
Yes, you're very smart. You're a smart lady.
Well, thank you. I thought I was just lazy, but if you want to call it smart, I'll take that compliment.
No, you are very smart. And it's just really intense.
And there's there's anxiety. If you have even the tiniest bit of social anxiety, it will amplify
Explode, yes.
so much. And you have the competitive nature, which I feel like most people don't actually thrive on unless they're winning.
Yeah.
And it's
Hi, Christine. Have we met?
Well, you're watching so what I focused on, I was never close to the top 10, but I focused on getting climbing the bracket of positions. So I went from mid 40s to mid 20s throughout the contest, climbing up that ladder. Each week, the goal would be to move up one. And you get so hyper focused on it, and your individual pre-orders count, and you quickly run out of your most immediate pools of people.
Yeah.
And then you start getting desperate and crazy trying to come up with new people to reach.
Well, that's one of the good things, though, I think, is that you are braver, or I guess, I don't know about other people, but I was braver than I would have been if I hadn't been in a contest. If I didn't have the pressure,
it gave you extra motivation to
I wouldn't have had
fight for yourself.
Yeah, you can tell, you can reason in your brain, I wouldn't normally do this, but these are special circumstances.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to go and ask every single person in this coffee shop to order my book, and I would not do that if I couldn't say, please help me win this contest. If I'm just saying, well, I don't know, I'm going to try it, I guess. Please help me get my book published. That's not as much of a motivator, I think, for people to toss you a few dollars.
It's incredibly stressful and terrifying to go up to a stranger and say, it's almost like ripping your chest open and being like, look at my heart, here it is, tell me it's okay.
And then even it's also the follow-ups, someone tells you that they ordered it and you look and you're like, no, they didn't. So then it's do I say something to them? And if I do, how do I word that to not come off as totally rude?
Yeah.
There are a lot of really good, helpful, reflective articles or blog posts that people have written that really helped me when I started.
The chat says...
You wrote one, Joe. You wrote one.
Yes, I did.
Yeah,
you
wrote
on my
one.
website.
That was before I knew you.
The chat says, post-Inkshares stress disorder, PISD.
It's a real thing.
It
took a good 3.5 months to recover.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Absolutely.
It's very
It
distressing.
took a while to
And then
yeah.
I assume that we'll probably have an episode about this, but for those who do make it in Quill or in full publishing, there's imposter syndrome to deal with. So now you have once you've told everybody you've got a book and it's going to be great, then you like have to deal with like oh shit, I have to write this book. Will it be great? You know, or do I belong here? I think is the thing. Like, should I call myself a writer? Is something that I think
we can have a whole show on
with. Yes, I think we will at some point.
Yeah, I think
It'll
that's
be a
on our
very
list.
depressing show, but we should do it.
I don't think it'll be any more depressing than our Star Wars episode. We all made it through that.
No, we can be really encouraging.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can.
There are good answers to imposter syndrome.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
You're not an imposter.
Yeah.
Proactive discussion.
Anyone who, the important thing is to know is that anyone who is brave enough to put words on a page is not an imposter. Only the person who says they write and does not write is an imposter. Anyone
and
who
don't even say that, because life circumstances can get in the way. You can still be a writer, and you just like haven't written for a year or something.
Yes, I mean if you never tried.
I'm speaking to Elon because I know that he has angst about this.
Right. I mean, if you never ever tried, I'm saying, like, you know, if you have ideas and you're trying to make them happen, then believe in yourself, and you are a writer.
I think on that positive note,
so inspirational.
and he doesn't even have 3 beers in him. What glass is he? So on that positive note, I think we should talk a little bit very quickly, because I do want to highlight some of the stories that have been suggested to us tonight. And I'm just going to spoiler alert right now. We are going to be finishing a little earlier tonight, I believe. Did we decide on that? I think we're going to end at 9:30 tonight instead of the full 2 hours, because let's all be honest, the last half an hour is just giggling and just listening to ourselves talk. So rather than put you through that,
we don't do any makeouts on camera, Joe.
That's true. Because Brenda, there will be no makeout.
Brenda was trying to make out with me, and I told her that I couldn't. I gave her a kiss, and that was enough.
So why should, from authors who have been successful at not drafting, authors take the time to draft? What are the pros? We know there aren't really any cons, other than, you know, you have the anxiety of putting yourself out there and like, oh, are people going to reject this? So that's kind of a con, but it's so easy to overcome that. So what are the reasons people should draft before launching? And what does a good page need if it's going to draft? Like, to get attention.
Am I going to be like are we gonna fight about this? Am I gonna be
I don't know.
The contrary voice on the show?
I'm not saying you have to draft, but
well, because I'm thinking, like, there are lots of reasons not to post, and those reasons are tons of people tell you your work is crap, and then you can't show your face around Inkshares anymore.
No, that's the
reason not to
pessimist's list of reasons.
That seems like more of an anxiety than a reality.
Maybe.
It's like overall the community is welcoming to people and supportive. It's not unheard of.
Anybody, we would push that person out.
Reality.
Hostility and fire.
Yeah, it's not unheard of that somebody is kind of a jerk and just like craps up the comments of a draft with like, this is crap, or something like that. But
and if you're serious about launching a book at some point, you're gonna want to hear any criticisms early on, so you can go and fix that stuff before a broader audience is looking at it.
Well, you're just gonna have to develop a thick skin in general, because some people are just gonna genuinely hate your book. They're not gonna like it. Think about last week with Star Wars. I tried. I can't do it. It's not that I don't want anybody to enjoy it. It's just not my thing. And so I can critique it, and people take it for what it is, and they make a decision based on that. So
I don't like cop shows, but like most of America loves them.
I don't understand why there has to be 10,000 of them. They're all the same show. I don't understand why there are 10,000 doctor shows. They're all the same show. So,
Rick in the chat says drafting is a way to build your direct orders before you start, and then he says you can't crowdfund without a crowd.
Very true, and I think that's the best argument that can be made, and I think that I'm proof of that, because I have my friends and my supporters on Facebook and Twitter that have said, oh yeah, I totally want to check out a copy of your book. When's it go on sale? But I also have people that have been following me from day one, and I don't know if they're going to buy a copy or not, but I'm better off having 70 people following me who might buy my book than none, just thrown in there, going in cold. And I've built a family now that will support me. So
well, it's like I was looking at Patty Card's draft Project Human, and in one of her updates she was saying that one of her goals is to get 500 followers on her draft, and then she's gonna launch once she hits that point. And that's really, really smart. You know, you're kind of stacking the odds in your favor by, you know, using the time before the campaign clock ticker begins to get your followers then.
I think the Inkshares is changing so quickly, though, that we're finally getting to the point where maybe that might actually be possible. Because, you know, even a year ago, I doubt anything would get 500 followers as a draft. There just aren't
we're hitting those numbers now.
On Inkshares.
And we were just talking about the other day how readers are coming in.
Yeah, that's the. I mean, I think we talked about this before, but I think discoverability is like the big focus right now. Is like how do randos, you know, visit the site and discover books that they want to support. I think that's the big challenge right now. So I think we have a strong writer base, and I mean we always take more writers. I want more writers, but I want more readers because I want people that want to come in.
And drafting is such a good place for readers to come in at, so they can give feedback on the things that look interesting, and actually help the author, you know, shape the book as they finish, you know, writing it and polishing it up.
Well, that worked for Andy.
Gives them a voice. For who?
Andy Weir.
That's how he wrote The Martian.
Right.
Because he just posted it chapter by chapter and got feedback on every single chapter from people who...
Yeah, and then anyone that gave him feedback feels invested, and they're like, oh, you know, like that paragraph, I influenced that paragraph.
Yeah.
Well, and you know what?
I read that he had... I read an article that said he published The Martian when he had, it said, only a few thousand followers. And I was like, a few thousand followers? That sounds like a lot to me. But, you know, compared to the hundreds of thousands of copies that he sold, it's not very many.
Yeah.
But he had a real base there of people who were giving him feedback.
Yeah, I think that could be.
I don't think anyone has right now.
Well, I think that's why contests are so much more fun than drafting, because you're invested in that, and I made that book happen. That book would not have been published without my support, and it's so much more fun because it's a competition. A draft is a slow motion version of that, and the author can do up to 6 months, I think, for their draft period, or is that changed?
Oh, I don't know.
Either way, I know you can.
You've started a million drafts.
Yeah, Joe.
You should know.
What was the question? I was interacting with the chat.
Well, when you finally move from draft to sales, you can choose your campaign period, correct?
I've only chosen the campaign period once when I started funding, but at that time you could put any number in. They had a recommended number, and then it was like put in whatever number you think it will take to fund. You know.
Yeah.
So. My hope is that the next book I put up there, I'll be able to. It won't be so hard to fund, but there's a lot. I'm going to do a lot of prep work on that one. I was mentioning in the chat that there's no way I'm trying to fund a book again without having a draft done, because it's very stressful.
Yeah. It's a lot of pressure.
Yeah, it is a lot of pressure, and I just want to have something that's more polished. Then it's an easier sell if you know what the book is about. I think it's so I've learned a lot from my initial experiences with Inkshares, and I hope that will translate to success for future work.
So if you guys were readers on the site, which you kind of are, but you were not authors, what would be the things that as readers would channel your attention to a draft? Like what elements on a project page? Would it be a synopsis? Would it be a trailer? Would it be cover art? Like what could we tell potential drafters? These are things that are good ideas to have on your page, because one of the faults of being in draft mode is that you don't always really put a lot of stock into it. You're like, oh, here's my stuff, take it or leave it. So if you were really serious about getting a following prior to your sales, what would you as readers say, I would like to see these things to get me invested to follow a book?
So
that's a good question.
Yeah, I have my answer to that is not any one item, but just to follow my process when I am looking at projects. A good cover and a good little one sentence blurb, or might be 2 sentences. That's
tagline. I call it a tagline.
Yeah, the tagline.
Elevator pitch, whatever.
Yeah, that's what pulls me in to look at it in the first place. Although I might also look at it if maybe you followed my book, I might go check out your book, just out of consideration. So then once I'm actually looking at the page, I like to see a brief synopsis, nothing that's going to take forever to read, but something that summarizes the story so I can just get a feel for, like, is this idea even interesting and fleshed out? And then I want, like, your first 3 paragraphs of the excerpt that you shared to be written very, very well. Because if it's not, then my attention's gone immediately.
Sarah, what do you think?
Well, you know, definitely what Christine said. The first thing you're going to see as you're browsing Inkshares is the cover. So it needs to be, like, just, you got to get something beyond the Inkshares pre-made covers that are just, your eyes skim right over those. So something to draw people's eyes. Good tagline, yeah. And then I would say, this is, maybe it's just a pet peeve of mine, but if you have grammar, punctuation, proofreading errors in your tagline or in the first few lines of your synopsis or whatever you have posted, I will click away unless the other words are really, really good, like really pulling me in. Because you gotta give people a reason to have any confidence at all that you can write a competent book. And if you don't even bother to proofread your first few sentences, then I just don't have much confidence. I mean, everybody makes mistakes, but you gotta look over these things to like show extra care, to show your readers that they can believe in you.
Right.
So,
Like, there can be a typo here and there, but you sure don't want, like, your page to be front-loaded with grammatical errors and typos.
Well, and it's a draft. It's going to be crummy. Like, you're going to miss some stuff. It's going to happen,
well,
especially if you're updating.
Yeah, but like if you write a synopsis, if it's 5 sentences long, you should be able to read over that and get the errors out.
Yeah, because I bet I could go to my excerpts right now and find typos that, especially, I'm really bad about like double words, like 2 thes in a row, because your eye naturally hops over that anyway. It's a psychological thing. So
it's hard to edit your own stuff. It's true.
Yeah, that's why I have Wyatt do it.
Yeah.
So, but I'm really bad about double words and missing
You
words.
need to.
Yeah. Oh, that was one thing that I was kind of wanting to do for Draftfest, was to have like a proofreading or editing pass that like people trade, because it is hard to catch your own errors and your eyes just skim over the stuff you've done wrong and you don't notice it. So people could we could everybody could help each other brush up their synopsis.
Oh, I like that.
I think it's a good idea. Well, and that kind of leads us back into what we want to get out of Draftfest. And so, like, one of the things that we've discussed, well, more than one of the things, is hopefully the byproduct of this will be people are reading, reviewing, commenting, giving, if a person's asking for critical feedback or positive feedback, maybe a person just needs a boost in their confidence that, hey, I put this out here, like Joe said, they ripped their heart, they put it out on the internet for people to read, please don't stab it to death. So tell me if you like it. Not everybody is looking for the same kind of feedback. So if you are participating in that, be mindful of that, because some people want positive affirmation. Some people want you to rip their heart out before they get to the contest or the launch phase. Right. So
I think the draft phase really is the time for that. If people are asking for feedback, they've got to, it's got to be critical. It can be encouraging and also critical, because once it gets into a campaigning phase, I don't think it's helpful or encouraging to critique their
you don't want everything pointed out as you're trying to direct buyers to the page.
Yeah.
Well, and that kind of leads us into, some people launch too soon. Some people aren't ready to sell. They still need a lot of polishing on that book. And the reason people are going in and critiquing their stuff is because they wanted to get it out there so fast that they didn't really think about what they needed to do to get people to be paying attention to in the first place. So that kind of leads us back to drafting is really good, because if you launch too fast, you ruin your entire campaign possibly by doing that if you aren't really prepared. I'm not saying you have to be a perfectionist at it, and you don't have to have like the next great American novel, but you have to really put some time and energy into it. And I'm learning that right now, because every day I think I could just push that button right now. I could do it, and I'm counting down the days till June. I'm doing it, but I keep thinking, no, I have this checklist. I have to get it done, and if I want my book to sell, I have to go through the motions.
They make it really easy to push that button too. It's very tempting.
Oh yeah. And when the contests are going on, like, you're usually finding out about Drinkshares because you're seeing the contest. And it's like, all right, I'm gonna jump in, and then you're there, and it's like, oh, what? I don't have a video, I don't have artwork, like, scribble. Try to get it all done really fast, and then you make errors.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's very true. Very true.
So we kind of prepared a list of some of the books that were suggested to us, either through Twitter, through Slack, through word of mouth, through whatever internet means. So do you guys have, looking at the list, anyone's in particular that you want to kind of do a round robin and say, this is the book that I really, really am excited about?
I'll start with the one I'm reading right now.
Okay.
So You Might Be a Vampire by Rodney B. Smith. So he actually had campaigned previously, and then he brought it back to the draft phase, and from what I understand, from what he told me, he is going to, launch a new campaign at some point down the line. And I've already bought, he actually self-published this book prior to Drinkshares, and I bought a copy of that, and that's what I'm reading right now. So I'm definitely a super fan. His video is super, super cool. I recommend checking it out. And I'm rooting for him for his next campaign, for it to be, a super successful one, because I think his book's solid, but it could definitely use like a copy edit. So if he could get to Quill, that would be fantastic for him.
Do you have anything in particular you're excited about?
This is a book that I don't think anybody else, aside from me, has seen, but it's called House of Sorrows. It's by Kanya Matsunaga, and it says, Morris is apprenticed to a tea maker. Monsters come to the shop to buy sorrows in tea to change their fates. And I thought that I like that idea. I like kind of weird fantasy stories that aren't like dragons and elves and stuff like that. I like monsters. I like humans and monsters. Is like
that's what is great about
that I like.
That's what's great about Christopher Moore, because it's always human elements, but there's always like a little bit of paranormal or supernatural or weirdness going on just in the background.
Looks like I followed this one already.
Yeah, I saw you on there, so I think I may have sent a recommendation up for it.
So Kara, I think I know the one you're excited about.
Do you?
Yeah, I think so.
What? Tell me. Tell me what I'm excited about.
Is it the Cup of the Dead one?
I am so excited about that. Yes. Oh, it has this beautiful cover.
It does.
I love early 20th century murder mysteries, 1920s, 30s, 40s murder mysteries. Love them. I started reading it, and immediately I was like, I love this main character. I care so much about her, and all these people are so real, and the writing's really good, and I'm very excited about that.
Is that by Faith?
Yes.
Okay.
Faith, no last name.
Yeah, Faith, no last name, like Cher.
No last name.
See, the reason I bring that up is because I realized when I was searching through and trying to find drafts, especially things that I had followed, she was one of the first people that followed and started talking about Proxy and got really excited about it. She did some beta reading for me, and I didn't even make the connection. So I was really excited to see she's doing well.
Yeah, let's see how many followers she has.
So the one I'm really excited about is, first off, the one I was kind of excited about, I found out today, it's not a draft, it's an idea. So, Mr. Elon Samuel, I have some advice for you later in the show. But other than that, I'm really excited about The Darkest Places by Byron Gillen.
Yeah. That's a great example, his page.
Yes.
Of what to do.
If you want to sell books, go look at his page. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I assume that it's Gillen, like Karen Gillen. and not Jillen, so I apologize if I'm mispronouncing that. But I was actually talking to him about it the other day because as I was reading it, it reminded me of The Mummy and Indiana Jones and those like 1930s adventure, archaeology, mythology, supernatural religious stuff. And I was like, yes, I want this. This needs to be a thing. Make it happen. And so I've been following that book. And that was the first one I immediately thought of when we decided to start doing Draftfest that I wanted to promote. So I'm really excited about that, and I hope it goes on sale soon.
74, by the way. Faith has
74.
Right.
Per
We'll
book.
get that number up, I think.
Is that per book or per profile?
It's on the book. For her book. She personally has 118. And I do not know what the distinction is between who gets your updates and who doesn't.
I think everyone gets them.
When
So
you
the
when
people
you
who
have
follow just you, not your book.
when people follow you, they get updates from any book. If they follow just your book, they get updates from the book. And
Cool.
if they
Makes
follow
sense.
both, I don't know if it's still that way, but if they follow both, I think they get 2 updates to the same
I
update.
think they may have fixed that because I feel like that used to happen to me all the time.
Yeah,
but
I
not too
haven't
much
seen it in a
Uh,
lately.
while, so I haven't been checking. I get a lot of Drinkshares updates.
I get a lot of doubles.
Speaking of Inkshares updates, I was talking to Inkshares in the forums, which you guys should check out if you haven't, the Inkshares forums, where you can chat and socialize. I made the suggestion that when you're following a book in draft or idea or whatever, when it goes into funding, can we get a notification that it's gone into funding?
Yeah, that would be wonderful.
And I think Jeremy replied back and said, "Yeah, we'll see if we can get that in." And I don't know, I don't have a timeline or anything for that.
Isn't that kind of the author's responsibility to tell you when they've gone into funding if you're following their book?
It's true, but any leg up is good. Especially for me when I get a lot of updates from a lot of different books I'm following in a day. If there can be something that stands out from that, because one of the books that I was following that I was interested in, Terminus, funded or started funding, and I had no idea. It just so happened that I was following the CEO syndicate's discussion, and I discovered that it was funding.
So something that stands out.
Yeah,
from the
just-
rest of it.
Well, like,
Just
for
something-
example,
Because my
I
concern is
follow-
that it'll just make your eyes glaze over the Inkshares emails even more. 'Cause there's so many of them.
I get it. I mean, you get a lot of when it's an update. I mean, I kind of try to pick out updates that stand out to me, but just to get something that says,
Yeah, something
Hey,
where
welcome
the
down.
subject
That's
is
funny.
different in some way.
especially if we're getting people hyped about drafting. If you can get followers and then you get that message, you may
Yeah.
be getting status updates, or you may get a status update that says, "Hey, the book's funding," but to get an actual
Yeah, like a message from Inkshares rather than like so and so's update.
Yeah.
Dot.
You followed this
Because
book.
I follow everybody because I try to keep any Inkshares author that's on Twitter. I try to keep them in like a Twitter list. So I get a good jillion updates every day.
Yes.
But if it's an email from Inkshares about credits or whatnot, that stands out. And so something like that would be good.
So I'm going to talk about 3 more projects because as I'm looking through our notes, I thought of something. First off, I'm going to throw Kara under the bus, or maybe Christine, because I might be calling you out. I don't mean to, but Tabby Card was one of the people that tweeted us and wanted her
Tabby's
draft to be
awesome.
included. And the reason I said I'm throwing you under the bus is I think you guys know her better than me. I think I've talked to her on the forums maybe once or something like that. But I know she follows you guys on Twitter. So do you guys know a little bit more about Project Human than I do? And then I'm going to follow up with 2 other books that I really want to read, but I have beef with because they don't have anything up yet.
I don't know a ton about Project Human besides just what's posted.
She's like marketing it already. Like,
Yeah, 'cause Christine,
it's
you were talking about that
branded.
earlier.
I love it.
Set in
'Cause
the
she-
year 2120, iRobot meets Divergent meets Real Steel as a rogue android prototype joins forces with a human girl in a brewing political war. She's got a video.
She's got a cool video.
The video is not made by her. I doubt. I think it's just a music video, so it's kind of like a soundtrack that you can listen to as you scroll through her page.
She has actors picked out, actors or models that would be the characters. I love that idea because I love having a reference. I always ask people, who do you imagine for this character so that I can get an idea in my head. I love having that.
I want to know how she got this kick-ass graphic into her comment section, because everything about that is fantastic.
I think it's just from a status, because those are all status updates.
Yeah, just status update.
And then it's just kind of shrunk down.
Yeah, she's been working hard. So
yeah, looks like there's a lot of effort going into this page.
I really like what she's doing, because it sounds like as soon as she hits that launch button, like, it's ready to go.
Yeah, I want her to do it. I want her to wait till 500.
Yeah, that some people, or that I think most of us probably wait until after it's fully in production to start thinking about.
I'm not into robots, but I already want to read this book.
Are you into robots?
I love robots.
Robots I would read too. I would read anything that is a buddy comedy, like on a road trip. But when they're robots, of course I would read that. This
is just an idea, but it kind of got some buzz on Inkshares, I think, a couple weeks ago, and the synopsis or the hook for this one is: in a world of emotionless AI, two cybernetic pals steal a pickup truck and take off on a cross-country road trip. I like that. I like that a lot.
Jeremy likes that as well.
The two drafts that I have beef with, and I'm going to call some people out, because I am frustrated because in the process of us getting submissions for drafts, two of the other books that were mentioned, I think they're by friends of the authors or people who are following them, wanted us to include The Seventh Aspect by P.H. James, who has a really kick-ass cover, which the cover alone, it's the artisticness of it and the eeriness of it is enough for me to be like, yeah, I want to read that book. Go to the page, chapter 1 coming soon. Not good enough. It needs to be up now because I want to read it.
Give me that chapter.
Yeah, not cool. But he does have a really good synopsis, or I hope PH is a he. I'm gonna feel really bad if it's a girl. So
yeah, tell us. They're in the chat right now.
Okay. Yes.
Are you a girl or a boy or something else?
I feel really bad asking gender questions like that, but they have a really cool
an acidity
quote up by Voltaire.
Acid or base?
And then the other one.
No, nothing. No. No science friends.
What did you say? Oh, an acidity?
pH.
Or base?
Are they an acid or a base?
So base is the lady?
It's a really fucking joke.
Acid is the men.
If you were in the biology department, okay. Oh, male, man.
Okay, so he says, chapter 1 coming soon, has a really cool quote by Voltaire. It is not known precisely where angels dwell, whether in the air, the void, or the planets. It has not been God's pleasure that we should be informed of their abode. And which is a perfect quote, because the whole idea of the book is the little elevator pitches: a compassionate alien scientist must prove humans are worthy of learning the truth about God or be forced to exterminate us. And then it's got a little bit of a synopsis.
Very cool concept.
Yeah. Well, I'm writing a story about gods and humans' place in their society and things like that, so immediately that appealed to me. The other one is called The Subterranean Social Club. Love that title. By M.F. Moore. A group of inner-city kids stumble into an abandoned underground. The dark unknown awaits them with dangers and creatures. Once again, nothing other than a synopsis. It just says,
it could be a lot of different things.
Yeah, I know. It's just, I'm not angry at them. I don't have real beef with them. That was just me being sarcastic. It's just, I want to read. Give me more. Give us more. And so that's the frustrating thing about putting up a draft, is you are at the pace of the author, because obviously the author is not selling for a reason. So they're working on their stuff.
It's a work in progress.
Yeah. So that is the one con, I guess, of if you're the reader following drafts, is you could be waiting for years for somebody to finally get to the point where they could sell, if at all. Or you get to the point where they put it up and go, nope, I'm not ready for this.
That's why you follow/fund as many Inkshares books as your wallet will allow, so that you always have a stream of books coming to you.
Yeah, and then they show up suddenly and you're like, oh yeah, this book that I ordered, look, it's There we go. Yay!
It's exciting.
Well, that's why I joined a syndicate, because how many does Bechdel have lined up, but we're waiting for them to be actually made into books?
Oh my gosh. Once, like, there's going to be a certain point that we hit on the calendar.
And all these books.
And all the books are going to start coming out, like, one after another. And it's going to be awesome.
And then we'll just get them all. Yeah, that'll be great.
And then we're going to have, like, stacks and stacks of books surrounding us, and we won't know what to do.
PH says that his chapters will be up for Draftfest.
Oh, fantastic.
Yes.
Thanks, PH James. You're the best. So,
Yay!
Sweet. Ask him, or I guess I can ask him, but ask him to respond in the chat. Shut up, Kara. I don't need your smack talk. Anyway, PH, I'm curious.
Paul.
Who's the talking lady?
Did I just get shut up, Paul?
Oh yeah, I forgot about shut up, Paul. How did you forget about shut up, Paul? Okay, anyway, shut up, Kara.
I am not the one who needs to shut up on this podcast.
I am curious
mics.
whether PH did the cover themselves or had an artist do it, because it's really cool and I like it.
Good question.
So, bring those answers forthcoming.
Bring it out.
And that can be the sort of thing you talk about in your little about section.
Yes. That's something that I've heard mixed
People
reviews
are knowing
on.
things.
Because some people are like, I don't care. I think, Joe, you're like, I don't care about your process. I don't care about who you are. I just want to read about your book. And I think Kara is the opposite.
That's so funny. Well, see, because I just don't do it. I can't read regular updates of chapters that people send out. I can't get invested in a book that I won't get to finish for a year or more. I just can't do it. I won't let myself do it. It's too much like mental energy devoted to something that is so far off that I just don't read them. So.
But the question was specifically about in the about section.
That's a good point too.
Yeah. Are you okay with people dumping the whole, hey, I'm a writer, this has been my dream since I was a kid, or do you want to just like get in the meat?
I don't know. I mean,
I think
I like to know. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I think that particular type of sentence is good for the readers that you're bringing in outside of Inkshares that are just there to look at your page. Because people that like aren't really so much into the community of Inkshares, where it's just, oh, this guy told me about this book, I'll check it out, and they like reading that, like, oh, I'm gonna make their dream come true by ordering their book. So it's not the worst thing to say.
Altruistic in that way. I'm like, oh, I want to make some dreams come true today.
People do that.
I am.
It's because Joe's all better.
I used to fund so many Kickstarter projects. It was a problem. I would just give my money to people. It was a problem.
I like funding. I like backing books on Inkshares, but I make the assumption that your dream is to write because you're on Inkshares trying to fund a book.
Well, you're a savvy author.
I'm over like the about me section. Like I just want like people to like sell me on the book. Like don't sell me on you. I don't really care about you. I want to know about.
Well, it needs to start with the book. Yeah, I think like the top of your synopsis
it's not a one or the other situation
about your book, and then you can skim over the rest of the stuff if you don't care about it.
Yeah.
And that's why it's usually at the bottom of the section is, oh, here's a little bit about me.
Yeah.
People like to know about you, though. Like, they're going to give you their money.
Joe doesn't want to know you.
I don't care.
Then not Joe. And Joe can skip over those parts.
I mean, I've had conversations with some of the other authors start up because I read that, they were into this game or whatever. And we're like, we have that in common. Now, maybe I could be their friend.
If you see an author is in Philadelphia, are you going to be more inclined to read that book?
Yes, I am.
So I think there's a certain point to it.
Say I'm a writer from Philly, not I'm a writer, and it's been my dream since I was a kid. And I'm not saying that like.
For the record, I do not say that.
Thing that like this is the same old pat thing that everybody says, which is like I've been working on this book for so long, and I really want it to be published. We all do.
Right.
Like, this is not news to any of us.
Well, and I think there's definitely value to making it unique to you and not full of cliches.
Sincere.
One more thing that I want to
Unique.
kind of bring up because it made me think about this, and maybe this is just a personal peeve, so feel free to. I'm going to throw myself under the bus here because I know someone's going to hear this and be pissed off at this. I've had several conversations with multiple people over like the last 2 weeks about how many authors are pushing their books on other authors and how that gets really overwhelming because we all want the same thing and we all want to support each other, but then there's a certain pushiness aspect that's
we all
becoming
know
a problem.
that everyone else with a funding project is trying to sell copies of your book. You know, you don't need to tell us that, hey, please buy a copy. Like, I know you want me to buy a copy.
Like,
I
would be really upset if somebody bought a copy of my book, didn't enjoy it, didn't love it, and didn't read it just because, like, we were gonna pre-order swap or something like that. That would break my heart. I don't want my book funded that way. That's not what I'm trying to do.
Except for the rare occasions, which is what I'm doing for several of these books, actually, is that I know someone who would like the book. So I'm gonna give it
that I can tell, like a gift or
idea.
something like that.
I'm not gonna read it, but I know someone who will, so I'm gonna give it away.
Right.
Yeah, I've ordered a book like that for Wyatt, so I can see that, but I don't. It makes me really sad when people just want their books published so bad they don't care to whom. You know, that breaks my writerly heart.
Yeah,
So,
you want readers, and you want to bring readers into Inkshares so that the company can thrive and not like implode.
Well, one thing I was going to say before that I forgot to say because we moved on is that I think we're getting to the point where I don't think it's, maybe I'm wrong, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think it's happened yet that a book started in draft phase, had a significant draft phase, then moved to campaign funding, and was successful and now has a book coming out.
Mm-hmm. I think they've all been contests.
They're pretty much all contests.
It's like contests or direct.
Or was it Katie? How to get run over by a truck?
Yeah. So
she ran a campaign and did not succeed.
Drafted?
No.
How to get run over by a truck was never a draft. Like we haven't seen anybody like build a following in draft mode, and then
she ran a campaign and was not successful.
So what you're saying is
ran a very successful campaign after that.
You might be like the test case.
That would be amazing. Challenge accepted, definitely. And then I say that, and I totally like crash and burn, and I get like
is that
5
pressure
orders.
Telling you about? You're gonna have.
I hope
pressure.
not. Wyatt seems to think my book's going to be wildly popular, and he is going to be living on a private island as a house husband. So you know what, baby? Whatever gets you through the day. I mean,
you gotta have some kind of plan.
Yeah. So.
Brenda told me that she was afraid that she wouldn't understand my book.
Oh.
That's fine. I mean, everybody's got different tastes, so I respect that.
You
I know
can
she's still
explain it to
supporting me
her.
either way. What was that?
You can explain it to her
Yeah,
in the middle of making out.
Yeah.
So we're rounding out. We got about 5 minutes left before 9:30. Any other drafting advice or anything else we need to get out there before we give our 5 words of wisdom?
Really, I mean, I know it's actually untested, but I really recommend drafting. I know that next time I launch a project, I'm totally going to take advantage of the draft phase first. I think we touched on it, but I think that it would really, really alleviate a lot of the stress and chaos from the campaigning period if you actually had everything fleshed out before you start funding.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a good idea.
A full disclosure from earlier, my thing saying that the things you shouldn't do on your page, I have done all of them. Most of them.
You're speaking from experience.
Right, yeah, most of them are still on the page. Like I still have on my to-do list is like refactor my page so that it actually reads like accurately to what the story is. So don't like go look up my page and be like, this fucking hypocrite. Like he says, like he's doing it all.
No, go do it. Don't listen to him.
Or do it, whatever.
Well, and if you go to my page right now, like we cleaned up my page probably about a month ago when we sat down and hashed it out in Slack, and you guys basically gave me like the honest opinions of my project page. We cleaned it up, but I still have some things I've got to work on before I launch. Like right now, I'm working with one of the people in Slack to make a video that's not just me doing a screen recording of a Prezi presentation with me doing a dramatic overread. So I'm working on that, but I know that's something I need to fix because I've seen other pages and I'm like, damn, my page sucks in comparison. And that person isn't even close to doing draft yet, or doing a sale yet. So it's good.
You're getting followers, though.
I am. And you know what? Hey, I'm at 89 on Twitter, which I'm super psyched about. I got, I think, up to 67 today, and that's why I definitely think that readers are coming in, because I don't know about you guys.
Seem like it.
There's a slight boost. I'm not saying it's like an explosion or anything, but there's definitely been a slight boost to my readership.
I don't know where
Probably in
they're
the last 2
coming
weeks.
from. If you're a reader,
Well, your new tagline
let
is
us know
good.
how you came here.
My tagline and synopsis I would love to take credit for, but
Oh,
that
yeah.
was collaboration with Joe and Liam and other people. Thomas Arnold threw in a little of that. You guys threw in with that. I'm sure there are other people I'm not giving credit to. So if you were in Slack that day, you know who you are, and thank you for it.
The end result was all you, though. I mean, we just kind of like poked at it.
Yeah.
It's a good collaborative process.
And that's what I love about it. And that's another great thing. That's probably the note we should end on for drafting. If nothing else, you get such an awesome collaboration when you're in the draft process. And that is invaluable, because even if you're not looking for critical feedback, just having someone to bounce ideas off of, or this isn't working, help me out, going through, reading, commenting, doing things like that, that is so critical to making your story better. Because everybody can improve. Even somebody who's ready to sell tomorrow can make improvements on their project. So
even a lot of us that have reached various goals can
are
use
looking
some
at
improvement.
possibly their book being available soon.
Well, I look forward to hopefully, fingers crossed, being at least part of Quill. Not hold my breath, but I'm positive affirmationing the best I can. So.
Yeah, I'm sure you'll be fine.
Oh, thanks, Kara. I love you guys. All right, enough of bushy sentimentality. Okay, what else do we need to cover?
Can I say a thing though? A thing I'm excited about.
Go.
Okay, so last night, when I couldn't fall asleep, laying in bed, and you know what happened? The entire plot of my Princess Noir story came to me.
Oh, I'm so jealous. I haven't worked on mine at all.
Beginning to end, it came to me. And I don't write short stories. So this is really weird, because I usually, probably what I came up with could be, 50,000 word stinking novel. But it's not going to be. It's going to be a short story, and I have it, and I know what I'm going to do now, and I'm
That's
so
really
excited.
exciting. That's another thing that I'm excited about.
That's wow.
Is there one person that's kind of in charge of that? Is that
it's Ari Webster.
Okay.
I was going to say, she's the one that
I
posted
want to
it.
make sure that she's cool with me officially being part of the group.
I'm pretty sure she'll be fine with it. I think it'd be good if we had 8 to 10 people.
How many do we have at this point? We got the 4 of you guys from Women Slaying Sci-Fi, myself, which I totally invited myself, I'll admit that, so don't feel bad at all, Christine.
Christine, maybe
Christine,
Joe.
6. Okay. Joe, are you in for that too?
Maybe.
If Brenda can come up with an idea.
Okay.
He was not too. She was struggling with coming up with a princess story.
I'll help her.
Because she never got big into princesses. So.
Who was asking
Brendan and I
about
will
it
talk
on
on the
Slack?
face.
Was that Elon?
I don't remember.
Somebody else wanted in, and then we were like, "Oh, how many people do we have?" A lot more than
I think 8 to 10 is a good round number for a decent length book.
Yeah.
Did we put a word cap on that?
No.
You probably should do that for me. We should put a word cap on it.
Oh, yeah.
See, because if we put it at 10,000.
Well, there should be a range. A range, like at least this many words, no more than.
Well, and you know what? If you're short story,
if you want to write a 1-sentence Princess Noir story, do it.
if you could, I'm insanely down.
Awesome.
All right.
But Kara, I think it would be totally cool if your short story parlayed into a book.
No, I don't have time for another book idea. I have to finish my 3-book series first.
You trilogy writers, suckers.
Plan.
If we're wrapping up, I just want to say thank you to everybody in the chat and all our regulars that come and spend their Mondays with us. We really appreciate it. And I know that there's a lot more Drinkshares regular readers out there and Inkshares writers out there. So if you know some fool who's not watching us, ask him to join in. Have him come on over. I know that there's plenty of people
Blackmail
that
him
have
if you
nothing
need
to do.
to.
Plenty of people that have nothing to do on a Monday night. And it only gets better.
Yeah, seriously, that's why we're doing it on
You-
Monday
you-
night, because
You
no one
can
does
drink
anything
on a Monday
night.
night.
Yes,
You
you
join
can
us
drink.
and drink.
Drink in moderation.
Yeah, we need people to make up for Kara's non-drinking.
Yeah.
So audience participation with that.
Fill in the gap and spread the word. Follow us on Twitter, and we'll start. I think every Monday. The off Monday is usually when we share the link for the new show. So grab that link. You can find it on our Inkshares author cooperative page.
Subscribe to it.
Subscribe to our channel. Check out the live link
Follow us on
and
Twitter.
spread it around.
Follow
If you
us
know,
on Facebook.
if you know an
Facebook.
author that isn't watching the show but might be interested, throw it their way. We'd like to get those. I want to get those concurrent streaming viewers numbers up.
Yeah, we need double digits.
I want
That
double
would be awesome.
digits. We haven't hit double digits yet.
Well, and we have some non-writing related stuff. Like we did our Star Wars show. I'm sure we'll have new stuff. Civil War comes out in like what, a week? Something
No,
like that.
So-
I
you
watched
kidding
it
me?
already.
You want to talk about Civil War? I will talk to you about Civil War
Oh dear.
for
Oh, God.
hours.
Oh,
Alex
yeah.
and I had a huge argument after it because he was on one side and I was on the other, and I was like, "How did I marry you?" What is
All right,
going
we'll save that animosity for another week.
Yeah, maybe we'll wait. Maybe we'll wait for the DVD to come out like we did for
Oh yeah, I guess.
Force Awakens.
So-
I haven't seen it.
Not that many of us have been drinking tonight, but do we have any confessions or what did we call it? Drunk
opinions.
Christine's the only one.
Christine's the only one drinking, really. So, Christine, what's your drunk opinion?
You know, I think my alcohol tolerance has really gone up since starting the show, so I'm pretty sure I'm not drunk.
We're gonna have to change the name of the show.
There's still drinks. Everybody drank a thing.
Yeah, we drank. We just didn't drink alcoholic stuff. Well, some of you didn't.
Yeah. My non-alcoholic drunk opinion is be excellent to each other.
Oh, that's more of a quote.
It's an opinion.
But it was said by George Carlin.
It's more of a directive. It's
It's
advice.
a directive. My drunk directive is be excellent to each other.
Well, on that note, I have two pieces of unsolicited advice. I kind of already spoke about it just two. Shut up, Kara. So my one piece of unsolicited advice I already kind of spoke of, and so PH already has heard my wrath. He succumbed to it. He's going to post stuff up for the Draftfest, so I don't really have to tear into him so much. But if
You don't have to.
NF Moon, not more. MF Moon is watching or a fan of or follows on Twitter or anything, please put up something because I really want to read a section of your book, even if it's just a snippet. And following that, Elon Samuel, there is no excuse for why you do not have Tordaki 1694 up as a draft. It is an idea, and that is unacceptable. And I need to. What is it?
1450?
Is it 1350? Because it said 1694.
Wait, we have a typo in our document. Never mind.
Okay.
It's 16.
Either way.
Right.
Elon Samuel, unacceptable. Fix it immediately. Because we've been talking about it in Nano, and I'm really excited about it now, and you need to put something up. Because it needs to be a book.
Because
So
I
do
already
that
know
thing I said.
like the whole plot, so make it a draft.
Yeah, I'm invested in that book because I told you about how bathrooms worked in Renaissance times and how people stacked macaroons in cake form on trees. So I have investments
Macaroons
in
on
the book.
trees?
Yeah, like the little columns, like the macaroon.
Oh, not an actual tree. Okay.
Not like an actual tree. No, just like a decorative. Like, you know how they have cupcake trees? It's kind of like that, but with
I
macaroons.
know exactly what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
they're very colorful, but you know
Not an actual
what you need to do. So that being said, if
He said
no
it.
one else has anything else that they would like to add, I do want to put in our next show is going to be, Christine, help me out because I don't have my calendar open, the 23rd.
Oh, that sounds correct.
Okay, May 23rd,
23rd, we're going to talk with Elena Mae Darcy about a few different things. Obviously, her project, but she actually does some really cool stuff outside of Drinkshares too. So we're going
She
to
does a
talk
lot
to
with
her
Nano,
about
if I
that
know
too.
correctly.
Nano and MuggleNet.
Cool.
Cool.
So I'm gonna
For
have
the
to.
Potterheads out
I'm
there.
gonna have to drop my fan fiction link to her. I bet she would like it because I wrote a Hermione fan fiction that I really need to finish.
We're gonna have to sort ourselves into Hogwarts house. We should sort each other.
I did already.
I already
We should
know.
sort each other. You
Yeah, I
already
know
sorted.
mine too.
Much
Get
like
each other's and
much
then
like my zodiac sign, I'm a split. So not only am I Capitarius because I'm born on a cusp, but I'm also a what is it? A Gryffindor, I think is the appropriate. Although Ravendor sounds way more badass. So, I like Ravendor better. But
That sounds pretty cool.
I think it sounds pretty kick-ass, yeah. So, Elena Mae Darcy on May 23rd, 9 o'clock, 8 Central. Be there, be square. And this is the Drinkables signing off.
She says she's gonna bring her sorting hat.
Yay! That's fantastic. So, look forward to us getting sorted into our respective houses on May 23rd. And until then, may your drinks be shared.
Oh, may your drinks be shared.
Bye.
Bye.
Who has drinks?
Clink.